They cut so much out. I was able to briefly speak to Jimmy. He's like, oh, no, man, sorry, man. It felt like the worst feeling ever.
How much money would you have been happy
Oh.
with? So, player 710, Andy, you were in Beast Games until episode 3, where you sacrificed yourself during the solitary games. I've got to say, it was a very sad moment. How did you feel as soon as your teammates left?
I felt like a big disappointment. Like, we rolled the dice and like they didn't show that. I mean, I know like they showed a very, very brief clip to where like, oh, you want to play dice? It was so brief that like some people didn't connect it. When I got eliminated, I did it because I wanted to keep my word. I looked at the dice, I'd like not even thinking, I handcuffed to it. And that's when I was just like, you know, like feeling that regret, but at the same time, I followed my word.
But it was really gutting, the fact that I kept watching it back, seeing where they showed your part and they didn't.
They were like messing with us on there, and like we signed up for this. They did like psych evaluations before we even like got on the show and stuff. They were messing with us on the phone. I ordered pizza, plain pizza, and 2 hours later they gave me pepperoni. And I was wondering in the cube, like, are they gonna show this? And like they cut so much out. There was so much missing.
From what you see on TV, it's very quick. Everything seems like it happens all very quickly.
Oh, nothing was instant in the show. You know, the only thing instant would probably be if you have to pee. They did not starve us by any means. Before we got into those cubes, they were like loading us up with snacks and stuff. Like the crew was amazing. We were taken care of. We weren't like abused or anything like that.
Was it really 5 hours then, the solitary game?
Oh, I think I eliminated after like three and a half hours because it was not 2 hours. Like when I saw that clock on the wall, I'm like, no, it was more than 2 hours. I remember they said there was like 2 hours left. Unless that's what it was counting down from 2 hours. I have to rewatch that scene.
How much money would you have been happy with looking back?
The 20K would have helped. The 20K would have really, really helped. I would have hit the button if I would have known in advance that it would have been $20,000. But you got to think, everybody's going to hit that button last second. How many people are going to do that? I don't know. And when there's an unknown variable, that makes me hesitant, you know? That $2,000 that they gave us for just competing, that's all you got. So I would have made more money working. You know, I lost money basically by being on Beast Games.
Talking of all the friends that you made in there, have you stayed in touch with anyone since?
Oh yeah. I've been talking frequently to Haley, Mina, been talking to her. Let's see, I still talk to Cade. Who else do I talk? I talk to a lot of people.
You do really make friendships there. Like a lot of people genuinely make true. So it was a lot harder to leave, as you said, with the money and sometimes sacrifice yourself when they're such good people.
I honestly thought it was going to be like more cutthroat, and they made it seem like it was so cutthroat, but it's like, yeah, like under extreme stress people are going to crack, but most of the people were really kind, thoughtful people, so, you know. What
happened when you were eliminated then? Did you get to talk to Mr. Beast one-on-one at all during the games in each episode? Or
I was able to briefly speak to Jimmy. I asked him like, hey, like, you know, like, is it okay if I like say bye to my friends, you know, and my friends were in another cube. He's like, oh, no, man. Sorry, man. Can't do that.
Oh.
And I was just like, that sucked. Like, what happened is I'm chained to the wall. They bring this camera crew in. I give this whole little speech as if I'm talking to, you know, my husband. You know, I'm like, I'm sorry. You know, and I'm crying. I'm doing all these things. Like, I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, you know, like, I know I should have took the money, but I honestly thought I could go farther. Like, I was saying all this stuff to the camera. None of it made the cut. But maybe it's better. Like, I felt like, you know what? The silence it hits people more than me just talking about, you know, that. It felt like the worst feeling ever. Like, when you're eliminated, they just, like, rush you back to get your stuff and then, like, take you to a hotel, and then they try to, like, schedule your flight right away. So what you see is real. Everything on this show is real. The way it's been edited, you know, some people are like, oh, like this is fake. It's real.
I want to talk about Beast City, because obviously that was probably one of the biggest things that everybody was talking about in episode 2. Is there anything that we didn't get to see inside of Beast City that you guys saw?
I have to say, like, number one, like, Beast City is not surrounded by water. I thought that was interesting how they added that in. They had a dance party. They had music. They played some Britney. I was like,
no way.
And people were bouncing, doing the booty bounce, all that cool stuff. And You know, all of Jimmy's friends were there at one point. We were dancing by the money too, which I thought was funny. But before the dance party, they had a thing where Jimmy was just like signing random stuff. People were having their chocolate bars signed by him. Most of the Beast games, we were actually watching it. They didn't really show our reactions to that. They had like a list for us to write in the beginning, like what kind of foods we like, so that they could like figure out how to like tailor the menu to like a large group of people. They had like pasta at one point, they had salmon, like they had like a lot of good healthy food. Yeah, no, the food was great. They had barbecue chicken, burgers, hot dogs. I mean, yeah, they had snacks. They had fruit snacks, granola bars, water bottles. They had they had Feastables. They didn't starve us, you know, but the hours of when we ate were just weird, you know. So you could pretty much do whatever in the city. Obviously, you can't have your cell phone. You can eat snacks whenever. You have to eat dinner, lunch, and breakfast at the times that they post. Other than that, like, people were playing games, people were talking, strategizing. Like, nobody knew what was the next game. No one knew what was coming next. I would, like, wake up sometimes at, like, 6, go out, check, see if there's food, go back to bed. But, like, usually they'd want us out of bed probably around, like, noon or say, I would say, like... It depends, because they recorded at all weird times, but they almost always recorded at night because it just looked better on camera, you know, because the towers were lit up and everything.
You film in the evening, and then bedtime is when?
We would film, sometimes it was as late as 3 or 4 a.m. That was as late. That's as late as it could go. But like, it was random. It wasn't always consistent because sometimes some things took longer. I think it was on the night of when 4 versus 4 Star, we were up really late that night. And I think the following night we were only up to like maybe like 3, I would say. It was discombobulating, you know, but they didn't sleep deprive us. They just made us, not made us, but we had to sleep at different weird times.
So is there anything that you would suggest Mr. Beast do differently in Season 2 that you think he might have got a bit wrong in Season 1?
Less self-elimination challenges. Find some other way to mass eliminate people. Something that has more skill. I know there's that emotional aspect to it that he wants and the characterization and everything, but I mean, come on, man. Like...
Yeah, I know. I agree on that. I do agree on that. So the final question, I've got to ask, how would you have spent the $5 million?
Okay, so like the $5 million, I would have paid off all my debt. I would have paid off my parents' debt. I would buy a giant greenhouse because I love plants. I love gardening.
That. I love it.
I literally broke down crying as I was talking about the vegetables that I would grow. I was like, pumpkins, tomato, like thinking about it, because in my head at that time I knew that I was gonna be probably, we're all going home or I'm going home, because I knew it in my head, but they didn't show that, so thank God. Yeah, other than that, I probably would have fixed up the house a little bit, but yeah, I mean, that's what I would probably spend the money on.
Thank you so much for that interview. That was really, really, really exciting.
It's still surreal just watching it and seeing my friends. Everything you see is real. I really am grateful for this experience, and I hope that it's not the end.